Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show. Before I get on out of here, I had to talk about a story that's very, very important. And albeit indirect,
Stephen A. Smith just dropped a reality bomb that has the whole WNBA running for cover and completely upends everything we believe to be true about the future of women's basketball, so you might want to settle in for this one. We were all aware of the high level of anxiety. We were aware of the division of the changing rooms. However, no one anticipated that the Players Association, believing they had the upper hand over the league owners, would practically blow up their own contract thus early. The worst aspect, though, is that everyone is talking about but hasn't said it aloud yet. Stephen A. is criticizing the league for more than just their timing and greed. He's essentially stating that Caitlin Clark has already made her move in the music industry. It's not a public letter shared on social media, nor is it a news conference. But without a doubt, Clark has effectively retired from the play, and everyone who believed they could intimidate the Golden Goose and still be paid is set to face disastrous outcomes. Since this is the domino that set off the entire chain reaction, let's get right to the crash out. The WNBA Players Association formally chose to leave their collective bargaining agreement 2 years ahead of schedule. They simply tore up their contract. They observed the crowded venues, the music, the private aircraft that were at last being chartered, and the TV ratings that were breaking records every night. They also made the decision to call for a significant wage increase. Right now, they want a piece of the pie. That makes sense on paper, given the league's exponential growth. However, Stephen A. Smith highlights their grand plan's one obvious, catastrophic flaw. They are asking a company that has only been profitable for 5 minutes to pay them a lot. Additionally, they are actively undermining the whole reason why money exists in the first place. Regardless of how they handle the star attraction, they are wagering heavily that the audience will stick around. And the league as a whole might go bankrupt as a result of that risk. Caitlin Clark made a move that was more powerful than any picket sign or irate tweet could ever dream to be while the union was busy ranting about demands and equity. The unparalleled league was rejected by her. For those who are unaware, Breanna Stewart and Nafisa Keir launched the new, ostentatious 3-on-3 league called Unrivaled. The same veterans who have been competing against Clark are, in some ways, continuing to ignore her throughout the entire year. They reportedly offered her the red carpet treatment, equity in the league, and over $1 million for just a few weeks of work. Since WNBA players traditionally had to play year-round in order to pay their mortgages, they thought she would jump at the chance, but Clark declined. This is her tacit resignation, according to Stephen A. She abandoned their ecosystem, their money, and their league. Instead of giving them the power of her name, she decided to play golf, take a break, and move away from the commotion. This is where Stephen A. Smith truly went off the rails in the greatest manner possible, analyzing the situation with the kind of brutal honesty that the WNBA establishment detests to hear. It's a silent power move that screams, "I don't need you, but you definitely needed me." He refers to it as the ultimate bag fumble. In a vacuum, the union and veterans' demands for equity and revenue sharing are quite reasonable. However, you can't demand a portion of Caitlin Clark's earnings while allowing players to ignore her influence in the media and harass her on the court. Throughout the season, we have witnessed the side eyes, hard fouls, exclusion from Olympic rosters, and persistent media shading. According to SAS, their jealousy is making them oblivious to the realities of business. While attempting to prepare the goose for dinner, they are attempting to squeeze the golden goose for golden eggs. It is not possible to have it both ways. Additionally, by opting out of the CBA now, they are placing a wager that Clark will simply remain and endure the heat indefinitely, using to support their wages while treating her like an outsider. Even though the emotions in the locker room may lie, let's examine the numbers. The typical WNBA player requires this CBA raise in order to survive and lead a decent life without having to travel abroad to play in hazardous or taxing environments. Caitlin Clark doesn't. Her WNBA pay is essentially pocket change because of her enormous Nike contract, which is reported to be worth close to $30 million, as well as significant endorsements from Wilson, Gatorade, State Farm, and other companies. It represents less than 1% of her yearly earnings. Stephen A. Smith vehemently emphasized this issue. The only player in the league who can leave tomorrow and still be wealthy for the rest of her life is Clark. The only person with real power is the rookie they have been hazing, But the union is crashing out and making demands as if they had control over the whole ecosystem. The players are not compensated if the league locks out. But while she works on her putting stroke, Clark will continue to cash checks from Nike. This tirade exposes more than just the players. The leadership of the league is also being called into question. Stephen A. reiterated remarks that the current leadership's handling of this transition is the worst in the world.
Why?
Because they permitted a hostile workplace to develop around their most valuable employee. Every other company in the world safeguards their rainmaker. You ensure the happiness, safety, and support of a salesperson who generates 80% of your revenue. Instead, when the conversation became poisonous, the WNBA leadership did nothing but watch and allow the jealousy tales run amok. Their biggest star is separating herself from the other members of the league's inner circle, and they are currently engaged in a labor dispute with the union. The executives will have to explain to the NBA Board of Governors why they lost $1 billion chance because they were too scared to urge the veterans to calm down if the league closes due to a lockout or strike. This is a management disaster. A warning shot across the bow of the entire sport. Stephen A. Smith's final take was menacing. "We are getting close to a breaking point where quiet turns into a departure," he cautioned. Clark won't be the one suffering or pleading for a settlement if the union strikes and the games are suspended. She plans to pursue a career in broadcasting. She will only participate in exhibition games abroad for millions of dollars. Alternatively, she might simply develop her brand on her own. If the toxicity continues, the resignation from the WNBA may become formal. Thinking they were driving a tank, the players opted out in a game of chicken with the league owners, but they were unaware that the league was being driven by an automobile. Saying no to Unrivaled is Caitlin Clark's way of pressing the eject button. We must examine the history of disrespect that brought us to this point in order to fully comprehend the scope of this crash out. It took time for this to occur. Before Clark had played a single minute as a professional, it began. Do you recall the remarks made by legendary figures like Cheryl Swoops and Diana Taurasi? The cautions that she wouldn't rule and that reality was approaching. The mood was set by that. Every veteran felt deputized to humble the newcomer in this setting. And they made an effort. They gave her a blitz. She was polluted by them. Despite being face-guarded for 94 feet, she smashed the rookie scoring and assist records and led a lottery club to the playoffs. Stephen A. notes that rather than commemorating this, the union and the veterans intensified their efforts to create this narrative. You don't overlook the individual who ultimately switched the lights on for the rest of the world to see, even though it's true that the league stood on the shoulders of giants. The union is now attempting to profit off the publicity Clark brought by opting out of the CBA, but they won't acknowledge that she was the one who brought it. Both fans and business experts find this level of cognitive dissonance perplexing. Additionally, there is the incomparable element that cannot be emphasized. This league was meant to serve as a link. Stewart and Collier started it so that WNBA players may remain in the United States during the off-season and earn real money. The secret to their television deal was getting Clark. There were rumors that major networks were holding off on making a substantial broadcast package until they saw if Clark signed. Clark did more than just conserve energy by declining. She probably cost her competitors millions of dollars in lost sales. Their wallets are the target of this passive-aggressive attack. This was not an accident. According to Stephen A., Clark is intelligent. She is aware of her worth and understands that by refusing to participate, she demonstrates just how important she is. It supports everything SAS has been saying if Unrivaled finds it difficult to attract viewers without her. Not just for women's basketball in general, the public is rooting for Caitlin. Let's examine the crash-out psychology in more detail. Why right now? Why choose to leave 2 years early? According to the union, they wish to discuss a new model that takes the league's evolution into account. They desire better travel conditions, greater pay, and better pension benefits. All of these objectives are admirable, but the timing indicates that they think the leverage will never be greater than it is now. They fear that if they wait, the excitement may fade or the TV numbers may reach a plateau. However, as Stephen A. points out, the irony is that they run the risk of completely stopping the momentum by causing instability and threatening a work halt. It's possible that viewers who just turned in to watch Clark won't stay. The casual fans will switch back to the NBA or NFL and may not return if the league enters a lockout or if the 2026 season is postponed or canceled due to avaricious negotiations. Inside a paper house, The union is toying with fire. The racial dynamics and media coverage that have stoked this fire were also discussed by Stephen A. Smith. He has been outspoken about how the media has portrayed Clark in contrast to celebrities like A. Wilson. Although he stresses that business is business, he admits that race has an impact on marketing. What sells is what you market. To save the NBA, they promoted Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. Whether it was fair to the other players didn't concern them. They were concerned about maintaining the lights. Claims that although the WNBA is in its Magic and Bird phase, the players are behaving as though they belong to a socialist commune where everyone should be treated equally, regardless of who is selling the tickets. The wedge is being driven by this participation trophy attitude regarding media attention. On the road, Clark sells out arenas. The Las Vegas Aces, the back-to-back winners, had less spectators than the Fever. That is a fact of statistics in music. The union alienates the corporate partners who are financing their raises when they disregard that fact in favor of equal outcomes. We also need to discuss the resignation from the standpoint of mental health. By the end of the season, Caitlin Clark appeared worn out, emotionally as well as physically. It wears her out to be constantly watched, have her teammates read her lips, and have her body language analyzed. Her retreating is a preservation strategy, according to Stephen A. She anticipates the crash out. She witnesses the union honing their tools in preparation for a labor dispute. And she is making the decision to leave the blast zone. She is detoxifying from the toxicity of the WNBA circle by remaining in Iowa, playing golf, and spending time with her fiancé and family. This is risky for the league since there is a real chance that she will permanently leave if she finds that she is happier outside the WNBA than with it. Athletes have previously left early. Andrew Luck, Calvin Johnson, and Barry Sanders. The money won't keep them if the surroundings are too poisonous. And keep in mind that Clark has the funds already. Since the golden goose analogy perfectly captures this situation, let's examine it in more detail. In essence, the farmer is the WNBA. They have a goose that produces golden eggs. Clark. They are protesting that the goose receives too much attention in comparison to the chickens, rather than providing it with food, constructing a lovely nest, and keeping it content so it lays more eggs. The goose is being pecked by them. In an attempt to get a better deal for the hens, they are now threatening to blow up the coop, the CBA. This is economic suicide, as Stephen A. Smith is yelling from the rooftops. The gold vanishes if the goose takes off. The TV networks that inked these agreements, ESPN, ION, and ABC, largely predicted Clark's future. These networks will employ terms to withhold compensation in the event of a resignation or if the league shuts out. The players' desired income sharing will be either 50% or 0%. The interaction between the union leadership and the agents is another intriguing reported aspect. There are allegedly a lot of frustrated agents. They are aware that all boats rise with the tide. Other athletes got endorsement deals thanks to Clark's presence. For 25 years, the league charter flights were a source of contention. Clark achieved what the union had battled for decades in just one season. Rather than expressing gratitude, the message has been that we deserve more and that it's time. As Stephen A. notes, there is a lack of appreciation. The veterans are angry that Clark didn't have to endure the same suffering because they believe they endured so she could fly. However, that is how progress works. In order for the settlers to prosper, the pioneers endure. A 22-year-old girl from Iowa is the target of the veterans' rage at history. What comes next? The billion-dollar question is that. Over the course of the upcoming season, the deadline for the new CBA discussions will approach. The possibility of a strike will loom over every game and press conference. According to Stephen A., if games are missed, the media will turn against the union. The general public supports Clark. The ratings attest to this. The sales of jerseys attest to this. The public sympathy will probably be low if the WNBA attempts to portray themselves as victims while requesting millions, particularly if the storyline is that they forced the world's most popular player out of the sport. Her checkmate is Clark, who has the best card. She has demonstrated that she can continue to be relevant for months without playing basketball. Do the other players feel the same way? Do the other players have State Farm commercials playing during the Super Bowl if the league ends? No. The court is necessary for them. The court is Clark. In addition, is necessary to address the Caitlin Clark impact on a worldwide scale. Rumor has it that European teams are planning enormous offers for her to play a few exhibition games, offers that would exceed WNBA salary. Clark might embark on a global tour if the WNBA faces a lockout. Picture the Caitlin Clark Global Tour packing venues in Shanghai, Tokyo, London, and Paris. In a single month, she would earn more money than the whole WNBA payroll. Without comprehending that globalization gives Clark a way out, the union is collapsing. She may play basketball without the WNBA. The WNBA is simply the most practical choice. However, she has the passport and the star power to take her talents somewhere if it becomes too inconvenient. Stephen A. alluded to this, pointing out that she is no longer just an American basketball star but a global icon. The details are interesting, so let's go back to the unparalleled rejection. Stewart and Keir, the league's founders, attempted to maintain their composure by claiming that while they have many stars. Please share your thoughts in the comment section, subscribe, and enable all notifications so you don't miss anything. We'll see you in the next one after you click the video on the screen.